So this is worthless. Anyway, so we're going to reprint this, and the good news, it gives me a chance to redesign the sacrificial base, so it's going to be easier to get off. See, you can see I just, at this point I got frustrated. I just ripped off the sacrificial base and I left the part of the raft on here. So we're going to use the system I should have used after the very first print when I saw the sacrificial base was too weak. I should have worked on improving that rather than just put a raft on there. I think that's going to solve the problem. And the other thing, so that was actually, a reasonable attempt, but I should have assembled that section first before I print any more sections to see if it really was working. And I would have found that it's difficult to get off that raft. So,
all right, here's 3D Builder. This is a free software 3D modeling tool that comes with Windows. So we're going to add an object, and we're going to load. This is section 2 from the project. And remember that section 2 is good for section 2, 3, 6, and 7. So there's our thing, and the layer and the base is only one layer. And if we look at the bottom, you can see the holes are in there for the that side of the column. So the sacrificial base is just to keep it together, so you can use the assembly tool and get it together. But I found it would be too floppy. So how I'm going to fix it. So add a cube. And we don't need a cube that thick. That'll waste a lot of material. So we're only going to make the cube 3 layers tall. So we're using 0.2 millimeter layers. So we're going to make it 0.6 millimeters thick. And then we need to reset it back to flat on the print bed here. So we moved to 0.3, which is halfway. So then that puts it so it's flush with the base. Okay, now it's too narrow, so let's make it bigger in the Y direction. So we're going to change this to 95. Okay, so 95 puts you over the edge of the sacrificial base to give you a little more support. I'm just going to go 100. Okay, that's better. So now it basically covers the whole edge except for one little blip here, which is fine. So. Okay, so then we need to make another cube in the other direction to support that direction. So add another cube, and we're going to make it 0.6 again. Oops, not 6, 0.6. There. And we're going to put it back to flat on the table. And then this time we're going to increase X rather, to 100. Okay, so let's make sure we're not hitting the base. Yeah, so we're just clearing these bases. Okay, so there'll be some flopping here, but that's actually okay, I think. The main thing is the whole thing is these bases just won't just completely flop over. So then we're going to save this. Save as. And here we're on step 6. So we're just going to save it in step 6, and it's called Launch Tower Section 2, column X. S3 3MF. So the STL files, which are the most common files, are great, but 3MF is a more modern 3D model file format. So that's what 3D Builder uses. You can save STL files, but these work fine in Simplify 3D anyway. So all right, so we'll save that, and then we'll go back to Simplify 3D and print out the parts we need. All right, here we are in Simplify 3D. So we're going to open up our project for, let's see, sections 2, 3, 6, and 7. So here's our project, and then we're going to get rid of this one. Let's find out where it is first, so we can put the other thing back there. So the location is -62, -50. Yeah. So we're going to remove that guy. You know these other parts again, remember, because we got to rebuild the whole thing. So. Then we're going to add in our new guy, step 6, this guy. All right, so then we're going to put him over there. -50. All right, so now you can see, let's save this. Now that we're not going to put a raft on this too, so forget that. So we're going to get rid of this. I'll leave that process in there, but we're going to go and select everything. Okay, this one's already got everything selected. This is the one with no raft, so additions, no raft. Yeah, okay. So we're going to go like this. Print that one. All right, so there's our project. And now, as we see what's going to happen here, so it prints the base, has these little circles, and then that's it for that little section. But then there's 3 more layers that'll stabilize that sacrificial layer, and so it'll be a lot better, in my opinion. We'll find out. All right, one thing I just realized is the assembly tool is designed to lay on top of one layer, and we have 3 layers now, so we need to make this 2 layers shorter. So let's take a look at how it's going to print the whole thing, and okay, let's zoom in on that. There's the top layer. Top layer is at 6.38 millimeters, which is down here, the Z direction right here. 1, 2. So we want to stop printing at 5.98 millimeters. Okay, so we're going to take it off of this profile. We're not going to do the assembly tool. We're just going to use that for the test prints of the tower section, and then we create a new thing called short assembly tool. So it's got the same profile as far as printing parameters, but in the select model we're only going to print the assembly tool, and the custom zones we're going to start printing at 0. We don't have that checked, but you don't need to. And then we're going to stop printing at 5.98. So that'll stop it from printing all the way. But the way the slicer works, save that, is, so we're printing those 2 processes. If you only print so many layers of it, not the full model, it's going to go ahead and do the 3 solid layers on the top. So even though it's shorter than what the actual model says, so that's a good feature of Simplify 3D.
Blunt spatula. Get under here. This side is coming up there. All right, these are all wiggly, which is fine. And then we're going to use our slightly shortened by 2 layer assembly tool. Put this in here. And then we're going to glue up the sides and the horizontal pieces. And then we'll have section 7 back ready to go. All right, let's put this together. So this is the final optimized method of putting together a stage. So if you follow this, you'll have hopefully as much luck as I'm having here. All right, so these sides go the pointy legs down and the flat side up. And the little ridges are on the outside. Just slide them in between 2 of the posts. Don't worry about getting exactly in there just yet. Once they're all in there, then and the rubber bands are on, then it'll stay. So this version with the modified sacrificial layer is more floppy than the other one with the raft, but it's going to be 100 times easier to get everything off. So we need one more on top. It's very close to the top. You don't want to get any glue on the rubber bands. I did that once, and it makes kind of a mess, so I don't want to do that. All right, so now that's the outside frame. Then you need to put these internal sections in. So for these, the easiest way I found to do it is put your fingers like this and snake it down in there. Put the bottom one in first. And there's little sockets on each side that it can snap into. Snap it in, and then the rubber bands will help hold it in there. And just these, it doesn't matter which side you use. Or this does. It's the same. I don't think it makes any difference. Okay. And then the top one. I like that. Alright, so that's what it should look like. Seems really solid now. So even though these floppy single layer things down here, once you have the rubber bands on, everything's stable. So that's the genius of his solution here. Just that I had to modify a little bit for my situation. I found if you put one layer of filament down, it doesn't really stick together. You need at least two, and I thought three would be a good solid choice and would work reliably. So that's my recommendation. Put those two rectangles, as I showed, using 3D Builder on your sacrificial layer, then it'll be much easier to work with. So what I've done is make sure the horizontal level is locked in at the bottom here. Then put a little bit of glue on each of these joints here for the horizontal levels on each side. That's enough to hold everything in place basically, and then it was no problem gluing these other ones. So I'll show you that later. But so for now, we're going to go to each. We're going to double check everything. Everything looks good. We're going to put some glue here. I put a little bit on top of the joint and then slide it down the side. Okay, I got way too much glue on that one. So use your paper towel if you get too much glue. And just wipe it down a little bit. Yeah, post is way too high, and so forth. So, all right. So that's all there's to do on this for now. And then we come back in an hour. I'll show you how to take off the sacrificial base with this beefed up version. And then we'll get the assembly tool out and so forth, so without ruining everything. So we're just gonna see what happens there. It'll just peel off. Yeah, it is gonna peel off. Alright. Looks like it. Alright, there's the sacrificial base away. There's some extra strings here we're going to cut off. Let's just see if we can get this assembly tool out. I guess I better get this extra stuff off here first. Thought I had this problem licked, but oh, there we go. Okay, so we're just muscling it a little bit. Alright, so some glue came down, and let me just snip that off. I think that came off of the assembly tool. Not sure exactly. Alright, well, don't blob on as much glue as I did. That's a good point. And, yeah, see, this one's already glued. This one is loose. So. Okay, so we got this off. A little bit of extra work. Now, we're going to put on our gloves, and we're going to glue the last connections, and we'll just let that dry another hour, and then it'll be ready to put into the model. The glue builds up on the tip, and then it just take it off with a some small pliers, and it's a brand new tip again on this glue. And we'll come back and wipe off some excess glue. Yeah, see, this already dripped way down there. Okay, probably dripped down as I was doing it. Alright, again, this is why you want to wear gloves, because you're going to get some on your hands, which is not the end of the world, but, you know, why get glue on your hand? Alright, that was ready to go. We'll just leave it this way, because we put glue on the top of this thing, it'll drip down this way into the joint. And so this solution is a big winner. So this is what I recommend, and I guess I can't post this updated thing on Thingiverse or anything because this is his proprietary model. I'm gonna be telling you about this video, so maybe he'll improve his sacrificial base by doing what I did. All right, so we've been busy putting together the tower, and if you keep going, it goes up pretty high. We're up to section 7 now. So in between, we glued sections 1 through 3, and then I figured we better be a little more careful and while we glue back together for the rest of the section, because we're going to be splitting it at one point where there's, you know, half of it below and half above approximately, and that way we can transport in the box that I use for outreach. And to connect these sections temporarily, I've been using this acrylic rod, 3mm acrylic rod I showed you earlier. I've been cutting it into 20mm lengths using our wire clippers. So just measured on our ruler, measured on the ruler here, and then snip it off, and then this is a substitute for those 20mm splines, which are kind of expensive. So I'll have a link to this in the show notes. So you can get this for yourself for this 200 to 1 to 200 model. This is a good choice as an alternative, and you can use this for other projects. I actually had this on hand because I use it for other things. So. All right, so now it's time to assemble section 8. So let's go get to that. All right, so here's section 8. We're getting to the top of the tower now. So section 8 is shorter than the other ones, and here are the side trusses that go on it. And so these only have 2 horizontal sections, and of course the other segments 1 through 7 had 3. So just go in here like this. So the crossbar goes upwards, and the little bumps on this go to the outside. Don't mess that up. You're prepared to mess it up because we're going to assemble everything like we did for the other sections, and then glue it once it's all together. So put it on each side. There's little grooves here going to the points of these rotated posts, so it's a nice design by our designer. More than 3D, it's the designer. And here's the last one. Okay. And then we've got to put in these horizontal trusses. So like I think I showed before, I just use my fingers like this. And you put the bottom one in first. Oh, first I gotta put the rubber bands on it. So this is only 2 trusses high, so we're gonna only put 2 rubber bands on it. Yeah, so stuff like that will happen. Just put it back in. Once you get the rubber bands in there, it should be pretty strong. So we just need 2. Okay, we want to avoid having the rubber bands where our glue points are going to be. So the glue points are here, where these trusses intersect the posts. And make sure our rubber bands are away from that, so we can get them to glue things. Okay, so now we got to put our horizontal pieces in. So like the one on the bottom is already printed in. That's nice. So there's no reason to have that be separate. So I just put my fingers like this, then you can get in here and have some control, and you just snap it into the sockets on the side of each vertical truss. Snap it in there. Oops, I put that one back in backwards. See, that's what you'll know if you mess it up, if you assemble everything first. I think I pointed that out in one of the earlier sections. Okay. Alright, this is ready to go now, so we'll try this again. Begin it from the top and just snap it in on each side. Make sure it's seated. And do the top one. Alright, so now we're ready to glue. So now in this case, we're going to put glue on this bottom connection because we don't care if it drips down onto the section 8. So let's go ahead and glue that. I'm going to put my gloves on so I don't get glue on my fingers. We got our paper towel here to wipe down if there's any excess. So first we're going to glue the horizontal pieces. Make sure those are seated. These pressed down here. So drop a glue on each one of these connections. Alright, while that's setting up, we'll go ahead and glue the side connections. Just putting a drop on top and then bringing it down the side so that it gets the whole length of the connection. It's sticking to my fingers, so. Alright, so we're gonna leave this alone. We'll re-glue the tops here. And then we'll go on to section 9. Let that set up, and then we'll come back and do the vertical pieces. So. Alright, well I started to assemble section 9, and I learned a couple things. One is this piece goes on top of this piece, but the holes on these posts here go all the way through, whereas these are the ones in the bottom here are short. They only go in maybe 5 millimeters. So I made these dowel pins 15 millimeters long instead of 20. 20 probably would work because these are super long, but I figured I'd make them 15. And then I'm looking at all these pulleys here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 pulleys here that look all the same. And then there's another pulley, and those are pulley number 3s. And there's another bigger pulley that goes here. And I started looking at my pulley inventory. And if you remember from way back when, I printed all these out at once because they were all black, even though they're from different steps, which I should have kept better track of which pulleys are which. But I think this is the bigger one. I think this one goes in here. I'm going to have to double check the dimensions though. And then here's 4 pulleys left here, but one of them is smaller than the other one. So I'm not sure at this point which pulleys are which. There's also pulleys that go into this piece here, which is on the carriage. And the 2 of them go in there. So this is a pretty wide thing, so I may need 2 of these bigger ones, but I think that says pulley number 4. Yeah, 2 pulley number 4. So I've got 5 pulleys here, but 3 are the same and 2 are different. And again, this bigger one probably goes in here, and I probably forgot to print the ones for this one because I didn't read the directions carefully enough. So we're going to check the dimensions of all these and see what's up with these different sized pulleys, and maybe you have to print some more pulleys to get all the ones we need. So that's kind of annoying, but anyway. So meanwhile, so I put that aside. Section 9, put that aside for a minute. Meanwhile, section 8 is dried, the horizontal section. So we're going to go ahead and finish gluing that. We already glued the bottom connections, so we're going to glue these middle connections and set that aside to dry. Okay, and there's a bunch of drips here, so we're going to wipe up our drips. Make sure it doesn't go down to the rubber band below it. Yeah, right. So we're just, the glue is gonna wick in using surface tension into the gap. So plenty of glue will get into this connection here to make it solid. So we'll set this aside again. So that's section 8. So I didn't label this one because it's unique because it has this little platform. So we'll just leave that aside. And then I started looking at the tower again and figuring out where can we glue, how many sections are we going to glue from the bottom. So we've got 3 sections glued already, 4 and 5, and I started reading the assembly instructions at the end where you take all the parts and use the dowel pins to put them together, but we're not going to be doing that. We're going to be either gluing the sections together, or on the sections where we're going to split it, we're going to use 2 dowel pins and 2 3mm magnet stacks to get those to stick together. So anyway, so we're this is section 4 here. So I started putting some of the pieces on. Just a little bit closer. So this is the quick disconnect carriage. It says it goes down to the quote-unquote stop, which I don't know if you can see this very well, but there is a bump out on this particular these 2 sections, 4 and 5, and I don't know if it's supposed to stop at the top of number 5. Not sure. So, and then this is the carriage for the chopstick. So there's a lot of friction here, so we're gonna have to do a lot of sanding. And maybe add some grease probably. I do have some grease that'll work. I've used on other parts, so I'm looking at this now. So I'm pretty sure, well actually I'm positive at this point. I want to glue 4 and 5 to the other 1 through 3, and that'll give us a a tower that's a little less than 18 inches tall. This is 6 and 7 up here. So we've got 17 inches tall, maybe a little bit more. And we're not going to glue it to the base. And with the base, we use magnets to connect this section 1 to the base. So that's what this. So when we transport it, this will come out, and then the base will be in the box separately. And then this section 1 will go in here with magnets when we reach our display location. And then I think I'm going to glue 4 and 5 to sections 1, 2, 3. So we're going to do that next. And meanwhile, once that's drying, we're going to go back and I'm going to go back. I'm not going to show that. I'll just admit what I did or didn't do when I start putting it together again, as far as making more pulleys. So we're going to glue 4 and 5 together. I'm not going to show that because I've shown up gluing other sections together. So we're going to do section 4 and 5 to the 1 through 3 using dowel pins, and that'll be nice and solid. And then these little gaps that are left, I found some wood putty that's silvery color. We're going to fill those in. So part of this is because I used rafts to print the base so it wouldn't be so floppy. It wasn't until section 7, when I had to redo section 7, that I figured out how to do that. I showed that earlier. Figured out how to make the sacrificial base stable enough so that you don't have to worry about it flopping around. But in any case, that's where I am. And so we're gonna go ahead and glue these together, and then we'll come back later and fill that in. I'll show how I did that later, and that'll make those look nicer.
If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Post a comment if you have any questions or ideas, and I'll try to respond. That's all for now, but more videos are coming, and if you want to see them, please subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification icon if you don't want to miss one. This is Beta Cygni signing out, and keep looking up.